I love listening to radio like that. Isn't that cool? I love the echo. It makes WMAL so much better. You know, the next thing they need to do at WMAL is to add a laugh track. I think that would be hilarious, wouldn't it? Just put a laugh track on it. Oh, I love it. I love how these radio. First off, the WMAL morning show without Brian Neiman it loses its focus. You know, it just becomes another right-wing show. You know, with Brian Neiman, at least it has a certain sense of direction and focus, and it's not just the same old bombast. So many of these righty talkers you hear on the radio, it's like they get out the printout every morning from the Heritage Foundation, and that's what they talk about. And you hear the same topics on Hannity and Limbaugh and the Morning Majority and Chris Plant, the same topics. And, you know, a lot of the funny stuff is that a lot of this stuff, like Joe Biden calling, you know, terrorists, calling various Republicans that are Tea Party people that, okay, that is stupid, and I agree with that, but the problem is the right-wing talkers, the more they repeat that, the more they repeat it, the more they get it out there. And they're actually doing the bidding for these kooky Democrats who are saying these kooky things by spreading the word, you know, and it's like a disinformation thing. And you know the people in the Obama basement White House there are saying, hey, let's say something bizarre. The right-wing media will repeat it and 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 be indignant, but it will get it out there. It'll get it out there. That subliminal message will be planted in people's minds. You know, and it's funny, the folks at WMAL are just falling into the trap. You know, if you don't like something, honestly, the best thing to do is ignore it. You know, like I do with David Zerwick. Oh, man. Hey, how about that? Look at Matt Damon. You know, I think Matt Damon ought to grow a little beard here. You know, the shaved head look and the beard look, you know, that's really in these days. Everybody's doing it. You know, and Obama's going to be doing it. Rush Limbaugh's going to be doing that soon, I bet you, you know. All right, folks, how you doing? It's the 4th of August, 2011 here on DCR TV, Dave TV. Got to hand it to Betsy Rothstein over there at Fishbowl, DC. She's really on it. Yesterday, she got this breaking news. The breaking news that Brett Haber is leaving WMAL, or leaving WUSA, only 2 days after everyone else got it. They must pay this chick by the hell with what she writes. They must pay her by the post, because some of the stuff is just a name. And then Z on TV there. Am I even in the? I can't even tell this. I got to set this up a different way sometime. I can hardly see what I'm doing here. But anyhow, there's Mr. Z. Talking about the two most evil people in the Washington-Baltimore blogosphere, Z and BR. Anyhow, the funny thing about him is he tries desperately to be this national correspondent, writing about Olbermann and George Clooney and stuff. And, you know, look at the comments. 5 comments on his George Clooney piece. Only 18 comments on his Olbermann piece. But when he sticks to local stuff like HFS, 59 comments there at the Baltimore Sun. You know, 42 comments. You know, Dave, you know, he writes about CNN, 7 comments. Or this thing, yeah. He really, Dave, you're a Baltimore media correspondent. You know, you are Baltimore. Stay in Baltimore. Don't try to, you know, woo Howie Kurtz and get the national media, because you ain't there, buddy. Leave that to the pros like Eric Wemple. That brilliant blog there on WashingtonPost.com, man. I like Eric. He's kind of you know, I agree with Eric on a lot of things, but, you know, it's just funny watching him stumble around on it. Oh, wow, man. What are we doing today? What's the big news, folks? The big news. Dan Snyder, what are you doing? Drop all this suit stuff. Run your team. Everybody's saying the Redskins are going to suck this year, but jeepers creepers, you know. He files this lawsuit against City Paper. City Paper fires back at him, claiming this slap thing. You know, it's a law the D.C. Council passed a while back where you can't. It's like if you file a law, you know, it's not right to file a lawsuit that just simply is trying to get money from somebody, even though your suit is baseless. Whatever. And then Snyder files back and says, well, because of home rule and the way the Congress and D.C. rule and all this stuff, that apparently the slap suit is invalid. He's going back into the D.C. Constitution and the whole relationship with D.C. and Congress and all this other stuff. And now the ACLU filed a friend of the court brief to support City Paper. Now the ACLU is going to come back and file something against Snyder. And this whole thing is just this big turmoil of craziness. This whole lawsuit is crazy. It's nutty. Dan Snyder's a big boy. He's a major media personality. He owns the Redskins. He owns radio stations. He's a big, you know, media guy. You know, he can defend himself in his papers and in his station and his Redskins. You know, he can run on the Redskins scoreboard, you know, slamming, you know, the City Paper or whatever. He doesn't need these lawsuits. They're silly. They're a distraction. The Redskins are going to be terrible this year. You know, focus on your team, Dan. That's what Washingtonians want you to do. We don't want you to go suing newspapers. We want you to focus on your team and give us a gosh darn good team. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how the media covers Snyder this year. If the Redskins suck, you know, he's going to be getting terrible coverage. He is going to be, and perhaps somewhere deep down he wants that. I don't know. But anyhow, man, Dan, walk away from all this stuff. It's bad for you. It's hurting your reputation. Oh, I feel sorry for him. You know, he really, I don't know, the people giving him legal advice and PR advice don't know what they're talking about. He really needs to walk away from all this stuff. You know, with the suit, I can understand that the suit made you mad. I read stuff about me. I remember I heard stuff about me, about, you know, Don and Mike would talk kooky stuff about me, and it would make me mad. But I'm like going, hey, you know, that's par for the course. When you're in the media, you got to be able to, you know, you get that crap. That's what happens. And you just got to blow past it, and it will fade away real quick. Okay, yes, somebody could search it on Google somewhere. No one cares about it. There's so much crap out there on Google. No one cares. Walk away from it. Interesting to see Flounder over there at DC 101. Apparently, he's launched an aerial campaign where he is got a friend of his flying a helicopter, and they're and he's doing this thing where he's so he's got an I-2 flying over I-270 there, and helicopter, and it's got this banner thing on the front with lights saying "Higher Flounder," da 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 da. You know, there it is. See it? Higher Flounder. I don't know. This whole thing smells like a publicity stunt for DC 101. I find it hard to believe that Flounder has been fired or canned or left the station. It's like a publicity stunt. They're going to pretend that he's gone, and then he's going to do this big campaign to get hired again. And what do you bet he goes back to DC 101? What do you bet this is just a big publicity stunt for DC 101? I don't know that for sure, but you know, my inner voice says that. I know another thing we reported on DC 101 yesterday. Apparently, a guy who he owns a website called TalkSuperstation.com. He's trying to get that site. He's going to get that name trademarked, and the patent office says no, you can't do that because CBS still has the trademark to Washington Superstation. Remember WJFK back in the 1990s used to be called Washington Superstation back when they had Don and Mike and Howard Stern and the Redskins. Of course, all those shows are gone. The station is a lame, rusting hulk of itself. But anyhow, this guy apparently is having trouble getting that name trademark because CBS still has some ties to that. Interesting little story there. We'll see how that plays out. But I wouldn't want to go in a run-in with the CBS legal eagles if you get my drift. Okay, what are we going to do? Let's go out today with a nice little, let's see what I got here. Let's see. a nice little Channel 4 memory for you here.
You're watching Channel 4, Washington's leading station for news and information. And now, Channel 4 News at 11.
Good evening. Susan Kidd is sitting in for Jim Vance. A night on which there was a tragedy in Northwest D.C. A blind girl, 7 years old, was electrocuted.
Wow. 1986 there. Channel 4, WRC. All right, folks. What else are we doing today? Is that about it? Yeah, I think that's about it. Was walking home last night, ready to come in my door, and I see this thing shoot by my feet. And I look down, and golly gee, it's a big brown rat. So I emailed the condo association. They're going to send out the exterminator. Apparently, a lot of rats and stuff like to climb under the decks and I don't know what. I see everything here. There's squirrels, there's chipmunks, there's mice. I've seen some dead rats around. This is the first real rat. This is the first live rat that's actually run right below my feet there. All right, folks. That's Dave TV for today. The 4th of August. Have a good one. And cut. Print!